All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the Cessna 172 Skyhawk. This is an S model Skyhawk. Now you're probably saying, how does this aircraft different than the regular Skyhawk that you get with the regular version? Well, the big thing is if you take a look at the interior, you'll notice that all the instrumentation is classic. We do have a nice GPS. We actually have a dual GPS setting system in here. But as far as that goes, this is just a regular old-fashioned Cessna Skyhawk. Pretty much the standard. You got yourself 4 seats, although you can never really use all 4 at the same time unless you really want to empty how much fuel you're carrying. Gross weight's about 2,500 pounds. Everything's looking pretty good. Taking a look around real fast, we do have an automatic pilot on board, which is awesome. Go ahead and give it full power, and we'll go ahead and get along. Now, I've never had the pleasure of operating this particular version of the Cessna 172. The one I always flew was a 172N, which is a little bit older, but they did have the engine swap in it. We're sitting here. This is Connecticut once again, in case you couldn't figure out where I kind of prefer to fly from. And we're flying right out of Ellington Airport here. So I'm going to go ahead and get this thing just enough power. Give it just a teeny tiny tug. The neat thing about Ellington Airport, of course, is this is where you do all your skydiving if you come to Connecticut. It's also a popular place with helicopters, last I checked. All right, go ahead and wait until we get just a little bit higher up before I bring those flaps up a notch. All right, slap the flaps. Okay, let's go ahead and start picking up a little bit of speed here. Oh yeah, you can definitely feel that it's a warmer day. This thing just does not want to climb. Okay. All right. So what can we do different with this aircraft that we can do with the regular Cessna? Well, basically nothing. It's got the same engine. It weighs about the same. Our avionics suite is a little bit more traditional as far as most of that stuff goes. You've already seen how this aircraft stalls. I think this does a pretty solid stall. It's pretty smooth. It's nothing I worry about too much. Pretty easy on the rudders, which is really, really nice as well. I'm actually going to bring myself over to the west here. Yeah, it's looking pretty good right about there. Bring myself up a little bit. I always like this aircraft because when you climb at full power. You don't have to worry about sitting there and making sure your RPM is set correct and all that. And it does have a little tiny twist to the right, but again, depending on how clean your aircraft is, it could literally impact the aerodynamics of the actual aircraft you're operating. I'm going to go ahead and level off just a teeny tiny bit here. Oh yeah, this is nice. This is very nice. Come swing down here real quick, slap that sucker on, put the altitude selection switch on. That should level me off immediately. Not too bad. Go ahead and bring my RPM down just a teeny tiny bit. 2,400 is more than enough. So I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and come over here real quick. Let's go ahead and do the direct key. We want to go to nearest, actually. Just push this button. Go ahead and select the cursor. Usually you can just go to nearest. Oh, it doesn't let us go to nearest. That's a shame. Okay, that's going to be a little bit tricky. All right, fine. Be that way. Abort! Abort! You usually can press and hold and clear, and it brings you back to the main menu. Hey, just like that. Not bad. Is this a touchscreen one? No. What a bummer. What a bummer. All right, I'll just have to do it the hard way then. We're going to go and push that button. We're going to switch this to 108.55. All right. Looking pretty good. Pretty good. Go ahead and swap. There we go. All right. Now you're probably going, okay, what's this game you're playing here? Well, what are we up to? What are we up to? Well, there happens to be a very, very nice major airport not too far from here, and it might just be a good demonstration to see just how well the automatic land on this aircraft works. This is something I've been kind of curious since I first picked this up, because I haven't really taken a lot of time to kind of fly it for myself. In the meantime, I'll see if I can get this to work. Oh yeah, that's nice. That's tricky. I don't have the world's smoothest moving mouse anymore, so as a result, it gets a little touchy when you try to do certain things. Boop boop. Oh, we should just be able to go right up to the letter B. And we'll go right over to the letter D. And depending on what version, H-I-J-K, doop doop doop. Enter, enter. Oh, interesting. Go ahead over here. Got it. Should be able to hit the proc button. Should be able to select approach. Select approach. And approach. Enter. I'm going to just give it a wheel. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. That's interesting. It just requires a little bit more fits and width, that's all. I'm sure I can get that to work exactly like I intended to. Cool. But anyway, we do have an ILS approach at this particular airport, so we might as well take advantage of it. Let's see, 33 degrees. So if we were traveling at 30 degrees, we'd actually be in pretty good shape. West is going to be more than enough. That sun is like right in my eyes here. All right, just taking a look around. It's just so nice to fly an aircraft like this every once in a while. It's just relaxing. All right, looking to my north here. Yeah, I can see the runway. Yeah, we're going to start swinging to our right a little bit here. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a 111.10 approach after all. That's all right, though. I think we actually overshot it. That's fine. Again, it's always fun to kind of play with these things, see how they're different from what you might be used to in other simulators. All right, go ahead and kind of line ourselves this way. I was hoping for about 300 degrees. That's looking pretty good right there. Looking good, looking good. Everything is looking good, actually. Let's go ahead and take a look out the window real quick. There is our runway. All right, 300 degrees should get us pretty lined up. I'm a little nervous that yeah, there it goes. All right, let's find out what happens. Approach. All right, let's do this right. Reduce power. First notch of flaps. We're actually going to increase power for a second here. All right, looks good, looks good. Taking a look, taking a look. Next notch. I remember the first time I did this in the real world, it was just like, freak out. I do have approach hold on. There it goes. Much better. All right, not bad. Our decision altitude, I believe, just doing the math in my head real quick, is going to be 400 feet. Slow down a little bit. Our missed approach is going to take us up into Massachusetts, if I recall correctly, up by Barnes. Again, I'm just trying to run this plate through my memory here. It's kind of fun. But I want to see everything. Oh, look, there's the International Drive. I actually had a friend who lived in this neighborhood. It's pretty wild. Take a look. You got some of the old tobacco fields. Oh, this is so cool. There's our airport. Oh, we're not supposed to be looking. We're supposed to be pretending we're flying instruments here. Go reduce speed a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and knock in flaps 30 there. We're going to start slowing down very aggressively. The magic approach speed on a Cessna 172 is about 65 knots for those of you guys keeping track of things at home. Getting a little low, but that's expected. Decision height is coming up in just a moment. There's my 65. Takes just a little bit more RPM to try to level that off again. It should be about 1,800 if I recall correctly. About 1,900 is a little high, actually. Should be about 1,800 RPM. Don't look out the window. Don't look out the window. Decision height is at 400. It's a bummer we have to use barometric altitude. We can't use radar altitude, which is way safer. All right. Decision altitude. Landing. Definitely. Hey, I still got it. I still got it. All right. We'll go ahead and slow this thing down just a teeny tiny bit. I just want to see if this thing can auto land. I'm curious more than anything. Even if I eat the ground because I tried to do auto land mode, I still think it will have been worth it just to see if it works. I love how it gives you the actual diagram. What a nice touch. You can see the ILS is not coincident with the actual end of the runway. That's completely accurate. Now you can actually fly this as a GPS approach, which I think is really cool. All right, let's find out what happens. I got my hand on everything. It looks like it's going to dig me into the ground here. What are you doing, automatic pilot? Whoa! Bongunk! Oh, that was like the roughest landing. I think that counts as 2 landings, right? All right, hopefully you found this video interesting. I knew I had to do something a little different, so that was just kind of a neat way to do it. And I appreciate the fact we got some nice little international travelers sitting over there and everything else. Enjoy.